This format is an absolute joke, just like my life. Anyways, regardless of the ban list impact on the game, I couldn't care less because it's free content for me at the end of the day. And unless you're blind or something and you can't really read titles, this video is all about my assessment of the top 10 best decks of the upcoming format, and a little hard to swallow pill for some of you guys. Fun fact, I'm actually a human and not a machine, so I might make mistakes, but for the most part, these decks should definitely deserve their spot here. Friendly reminder to smash absolutely everything in front of you, including your window, chair, computer, but especially the like and subscribe button. And with that out of the way, let's get right into it. So in the number 10 position, I have a deck that I personally have a bias towards, but I do recognize that it does have flaws, and that would be Spriggans. I can tell you one thing about this deck. When it works really well. It's completely unaffected by bestials because your monsters are like fire attribute, and you can also abuse Cyberstein to summon Natura Exterio, which is pretty much game against everybody. And by the way, you're not just ending on Exterio, no, you're making like 20 billion other negates too on top of that. Oh, and it's super consistent, it's like a 1.5 card combo, it's just a field spell and any Spriggans discard. The only issue really is that you rely too much on having the field spell in the discard or having access to a rank 4, and when that doesn't happen, the deck kinda doesn't do anything. Nonetheless, it's a very respectable option and nobody knows what it does, so you can definitely catch people off guard with it. Number 9 is a deck that I personally hate, but it actually got better with this ban list because of collateral damage in a way. That would be Drytron, and the reason why I said that is because bestial monsters are going to be losing in popularity due to Tearlaments getting out of the format. So you can't banish my Drytrons or Ben 10? Well, full combo on your ass. Issue is though, it's a combo deck and it doesn't really have the ability to play a lot of hand traps, so going second against Kashtira will be hell. And going first, obviously the deck has a really high ceiling and it's consistent, but it does lose really hard to Shifter, and that's a huge problem, otherwise it would be higher on my list. Alright, number 8 is a very funny rogue deck that keeps getting better and better and better, and that would be Plunder motherfucking Patroll. The new level 8 Synchro Ship monster is really good against Kashtira because not only can you use the Fenrir to summon it, but on top of that you can give a token to your opponent so that they can't really summon Fenrir or Unicorn. Oh, and as an added bonus, the deck doesn't care at all about bestial monsters, and it doesn't really lose that hard to Shifter. Okay, so the number 7 position is not really a deck, but rather an engine. A bunch of decks could be playing the engine that I'm about to talk about, and those decks could be combo decks or mid-range decks or control decks, I don't even know. I am referring to the Mechanico engine because this format, honestly anything that can allow you to steal monsters is destined for success. I think the pure deck itself is just too gimmicky, so you're better off just playing this as an engine in other decks. Jesse made it work in tier elements, so we never know. Number 6 is a deck that I do not understand at all, and I couldn't care less about it, but I do acknowledge that it's good. I'm referring to Rikka Sunavalon, and I think it deserves a little more credit. Marcus Patel used it at the Euros of 2022 in order to actually just sweep everyone in Top Cut, and in the Swiss rounds, he actually went 18-01, and that was in a format with like full power tier elements and sprite in a way. And the deck never got worse, it only got better indirectly with other decks being worse, so that's a good thing for Rikka, right? But then again, I don't know shit, so who cares about what I say? Number 5 is a trap deck that doesn't really play any hand traps, and it's not Lich, but rather Labyrinth. It got better thanks to the new support from Photon Hypernova, and that new card is a big welcome Labyrinth, a new consistency card, but also an interruption in the grave. The only issue is, it kinda sucks going second against Kashtira because Shangri-La can lock your spell and trap zone so that you can't do anything. And if that ever happens to you, all hope is lost, you're dead. But if you go first, you can actually set up an insta-win condition that they cannot do anything about, and I'm actually really down to showcase that in a separate video. Smash the like button right now if you want the sauce. Alright, number 4 is an old deck that got better and worse at the same time. I'm talking about branded Despia, and here is why. The bestial monsters are now kind of out of the format, so they used to be really good against Despia, but they were also pretty good in Despia, which is kind of bait. And the deck doesn't really lose too hard to Shifter, but at the same time, I don't know if it really has a good matchup going second against Kashtira. Now, if you go first against Kashtira, you're pretty much winning all your games. The reason for that is because you can give a Raw's Disciple to your opponent, and they can't really do anything about it outside of normal summoning a Fenrir or like a Unicorn or something with the Birth. Apart from that, they can't do jack shit, their deck sucks. Number 3 is a good old classic that never gets old, but I kind of find it boring to be honest. And that would be Swordsoul. I'm pretty confident in Swordsoul's ability to just adapt itself to like any given format because all you really have to do is just change the utility cards like the hand traps or board breakers and you're good. If you know exactly what kind of utility cards to play for any format, I think you can always do really well with Swordsoul, and that is the beauty of it. The deck isn't overpowered or anything, but it's really consistent and flexible, and you have to take advantage of these qualities. Number 2 is, again, not really a deck, but rather an engine, and I think it'll see a lot of play. The engine that I'm talking about is Runick, and it makes sense that I'm talking about it because, you know, it's free draws, free special summons, can't really go wrong with that. The only drawback is no battle phase, but I mean, who cares, right? And I think Naturia could be a pretty good deck at utilizing the Runick engine, but obviously there's other options such as Sprite or whatever else you want to play with Runick. You can also play Runick Stun, but if you do that, you're a scum, and I hate you. And before talking about the mysterious best deck that absolutely nobody ever expected, let's talk about an honorable mention. The Vernalizer engine is actually not too bad. You could play it in Naturia, actually, or in Madolche or whatever else. We don't really have an Emancipator, so that's kind of bait, but it is still a very good engine. Oh, and another honorable mention, but actually this is a dishonorable mention because that deck sucks now, and that would be Pendulums, because going second against Kashtira, you always lose because Shangri-La can lock your pen zones, and your deck does nothing. Alright, the best deck of the format is Kashtira, and no shit. I have a lot of negative and positive things to say about this deck, so it's actually in a really interesting spot. It loses to dumb shit like Book of Eclipse, Nibiru, or like garbage cards, but at the same time, it also doesn't really lose that hard to good cards. And it's just another one of those glue eater decks where you can suck ass and still win with it. You could play Ibli to save yourself from Nibiru, or you could play whatever, I don't know, Soravis to protect yourself from random bullshit like Mind Control, Change of Heart, and the world is your oyster. But yeah, it'll be the most played deck, so get ready to cash out on Kashtira.
LMAO.
Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think are the best decks of this format? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.